Hi everyone, welcome back to this week's video. Mark here from Digital Groove Online, and this week we're going to look at vocals and how we can make it sound a little bit more professional. We'll get that cleaner vocal in the mix, and there's a couple of little tips and tricks that help us achieve that. Now typically if you're a beginner in music production, what you would tend to do is add reverbs and delays and whatever else straight on to the channel itself, let's say the vocal. We could drop a reverb or a delay in there, and that's okay, and it does work well. But in this video I'm going to teach you how to make the vocal pop a little bit more, be that little bit more professional and cleaner throughout the mix using send return channels. So this is what we're going to listen to, and it's something I've created, just a little bit of a drum beat, a groove, bass line, and we've picked a vocal out of Splice. And we're going to go from this to this. And we're going to achieve that in just a few steps. What we're going to do first of all in this mix is the vocal itself is dry. So let's have a listen to it. There's a small amount of reverb on the vocal, but it is pretty dry. The first thing I'm going to do is pop on a compressor. And we're just going to bring the overall volume up a little bit to make the lower parts a little bit louder and the louder parts a little bit quieter, giving that little bit more of a fuller vocal. So I'm going to use the gentle squeeze preset. We'll listen. Just gives it a little bit more power, and then we'll just pop an EQ on it as well. We can see like the lower parts of the vocal range are in and around here. So we can roll off some of that unwanted frequencies that just come up underneath that. Cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is set up a return channel over here. We have a reverb already there. And we're just going to use the stock Ableton plugins as well. So we'll use the reverb that's already on it. So what a return channel is we can put any type of effect unit on that, and we will set it to 100% wet. Because what we're going to do is feed the dry signal over into the return channel, where it mixes the two together. Now, if we were to have it sort of on 50%, you're going to get a dry vocal get in, and you know there will be dry and wet on this side, so you'll get some sort of phase issues. So we pop it up to 100%. The next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the vocal, and I'm going to pop the send on the vocal itself up quite high so we can hear what the reverb is actually doing. So let's have a listen. And we're going to play about with some of these settings here. Okay, we can hear the nice reverb effect coming through here in the return channel. So if I just turn this off while it's playing, you'll hear what I mean. Okay, and a good thing about having it on its own independent channel over here with the wet signal itself is the only thing that's coming through there. Let's have a listen to that. Is that we have control over that wet signal. We can drop in an EQ and just tidy that up a little bit. See? Okay, the next thing I'm going to add after that is going to be a utility. Just in case I want to turn it up or down and we don't have enough volume over here on the send side, we can then boost that signal over here. Sometimes it does come up a little bit quiet. So we put a utility there on the end. The next thing I'm going to do is put a compressor on. And the reason I'm putting the compressor on here is that we're going to sidechain it against itself. So what we hope to achieve here is we're going to duck the reverb out of the way when the dry vocal's playing. And then whenever it stops playing, the reverb comes back up again. So let's sidechain that to the vocal. Okay, we're going to have a fast attack and release. And we're just going to pull this down the threshold until we get the gain reduction happening. Now I'm going to overdo it here just so that you can hear what the effect's doing, but we're just going to sort of go somewhere in between where it's a bit more subtle. So let's do that. So that's way too much. So whenever the vocal stops singing and the reverb starts coming back up, that should fill in those sort of blanks and give us a nice warm reverb. So let's have a listen to it together with the vocal. Then we're going to take it off.
Now I see through you. Where were you when I needed you?
And then we can control the signal here as to how much reverb we now want to add. So we'll just sort of mix that in and see. It was probably nice just roughly where it was, but let's have a listen and mix that in.
Where were you when I needed you? When I needed you, you promised that you would see this through. Now I see through you.
Okay, that sounds quite nice, and now we'll have a look at putting maybe some delay in there as well, and doing something similar where we're ducking the delay out of the road whilst the dry part of the vocal is playing. Okay, so let's right click and put a return track in there, and we're just going to call this delay. You can also control the volume here as well with these faders. So let's put a delay unit in. And again, we're popping that up to 100% wet. I'm going to pop it on ping pong for now. And what we'll do is we'll feed the vocal into delay B using the same technique as before. And I'm just going to listen to the wet signal. Let's see. So I've pulled the feedback down there just so it doesn't tail on too long. I quite like that. So we're not going to play the reverb. We're just going to keep this soloed and move back over to the vocal and play the two of them together. And we will listen to the delay and see what it sounds like. Because what you can do on the delay is start playing with the different sync patterns over here, and see how that sounds as well. Now when I'm moving this dot around here, that's basically only affecting anything inside this EQ curve, is applying the delay to it. Anything outside, it's not touching. So I like to roll off some of the lows and a little bit of the highs as well. But you can move that around to taste and see how you get on.
When I needed you, you promised that you would see this through. Now I see through you.
Okay, back over to the delay then, and we're just going to solo that on its own. And we're going to have a put an EQ onto that just to see what that looks like and what else we can sort of cut out there. Just making it a little bit more light and airy in the background because the main vocal itself has all the power. So we want to have that a little bit lighter as a delay in the background, and I've set it to ping pong so that it moves off both sides of the headphones. You can experiment with the different buttons here as well. You can take ping pong off just so it leaves it in a bit of a stereo mode. It's more central, but still has a bit of stereo on it. But the ping pong jumps it around your head. Okay, and we'll just pop a utility on there as well afterwards, in case we need to boost that later on. And then we go back to our compressor. We're going to do the similar settings as the reverb, where we're side chaining it against the vocal again. And we'll have our fast attack and release again. I'm just going to keep the dry signal on so we can again hear when that's ducking out of the road of the delay. And we're going to introduce the reverb back in as well. Just popping a bit more volume into the send as well. Okay, and then we'll just pop the solo on again here. I'm holding down control, by the way, whenever I'm soloing and unsoloing things. You can pick and choose what you want to play together. So now we have the vocal over here, the reverb and the delays on the return tracks, and they're also soloed just with the vocal. So let's have a listen how it sounds now and see if we need to tidy it up anymore. Okay, it's sounding quite nice. There's lots of pros to using the return channels. Obviously, we've more control over the wet signal in there. But another thing is, if you imagine applying the different delays and different reverbs to every single channel in your track, all those little reflections and delays will start muddying up the mix. Whenever we have, you know, let's say a delay and then maybe 3 different types of reverb, a short reverb, a medium, and then a long reverb. And we start feeding things from the project into those return tracks. It sounds like they've been recorded in the same room. And also whenever you get onto the, you know, the audio effects chain here at the bottom, we can then EQ that as well and get them all to sit in a bit of a nice space. And this is why it becomes more cleaner than just slapping it on your tracks originally. So let's have a listen to what it sounds like now. And then what we can do is decide what other type of delay we can put in there as well, just to give it a little bit more magic. So let's see. So there we go. It doesn't sound too bad now with the effects and the reverb and the delay on it. And again, if it's a little bit too much, we can dial back on these as well, just to personal taste. Another type of reverb that we could do here is, I suppose, a long feedback, and we can take certain words from within the track itself and have it delay over and over and just create a little bit more texture in the track. So I'm going to put the return track on here. We'll call it long delay. And what I will do is put a delay unit on now. Pop it up to 100%. And I'm going to pop the feedback right up to maybe 94. Let's see how we start off. And maybe select 8 here. So this will be C, and what we're planning to do this time is take one of the words. So let's have a listen to it. So let's say we take this word you, maybe you here, and then we will feed that word into C. So let's hit A for automation. Okay, and C is over here. So we've got A, B, and C returns. If I click that, you can see that it turns into what was on that return channel. Mixer long delay. Now what I'm going to do is, let me just go back to the long delay feedback. Yeah, so we're just going to feed this into that delay unit. If I zoom in, it was probably around here that this word starts. And we're going to bring it up. We'll over exaggerate it first of all. And bring it back down. Maybe a little bit later. So it might be a little bit loud at the start, and we can control then the volume afterwards by bringing this down to suit how loud you want it. And also we want to have a listen to see whether the delay time sounds good or not. So let's have a listen on its own.
Now I see through you.
Okay. Let's just turn the delay unit off and back on again. We'll maybe go to, let's go 4, try that.
Now I see through you.
Maybe keep it on 3. Okay. It's quite loud, so we're going to bring that back down again. And if I highlight the section and hold down Shift, I believe, yeah, we can bring the whole bar down in one go. So you're creating that tail. Maybe push it up a bit more. Didn't have it turned on. Bring that down again. Okay, and we're going to bring it back on maybe 80% there. Let's have it.
Now I see through you.
Just want it sort of to tail down as the next vocal plays. We'll maybe do it in the last part as well, where it says "see me through," so the through as well. Okay, so let's have a listen to it now in context with the rest of the track to see if we can hear exactly what we've done in this short session. We've added a reverb on the vocal and send the vocal to the reverb. We've EQ'd it out. We've set the reverb length and decay. And we've also sidechained it against itself so that whenever the dry vocal plays, it moves out of the road, and then whenever it stops, it moves back up again to fill that space. We've also done a delay on that with a similar process where we've EQ'd it out and sidechained it against itself with a shorter feedback. And then the last one is the long delay that takes certain words or phrases and just tails that to fill the track out. So we'll listen to it once on its own, and then we will listen to it in context. Let's go back to the very, very start. Okay, so that's the delay on the vocal on its own. We're going to have a listen to it in context with the track now. So there we go. I hope you've taken something from that anyway. It really is down to personal taste, but it was just to show you the how powerful the return tracks can be when you can actually shape them to how you want them to sound, and apply them to those vocals. Hope they sound a lot more cleaner than just dropping it onto the channel. And you can apply these types of processes right throughout the mix with short reverbs, medium reverbs, long reverbs. Send your percussion through to the shorter reverbs and things like that, and we start to get a more polished mix, and you've more control over how that wet signal sounds. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week.